There are some stories in the financial markets that are more painful than other ones, and a particularly painful one was investing into cannabis stocks over the last couple of years. The sector has been beaten down like crazy, and today we're going to look at one particular company that we currently see the bottom already in and where the turnaround could be imminent or already behind us, so stay tuned, we're jumping right in. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe, and today, finally, for the very first time here in this channel, I'm gonna talk about cannabis. Cannabis is a sector where, luckily, I have yet never gotten myself into, but with recent price developments, it slowly starts itching for me to finally really start getting into cannabis as well. And if you yourself are already invested into cannabis, you probably feel the very opposite. Probably you would currently feel that, oh my goodness, I am sick of it. I don't want to hear anything anymore about cannabis. And that is exactly the sentiment that we would be looking for to finally start getting into cannabis. You know the age-old wisdom, right? Buy heavily when the blood is running in the streets. And in the cannabis sector, definitely there's blood running in the streets, or maybe there's not even any more blood running in the streets because all the blood has already been gone for ages, and that's also a good sign. But so then, what are we talking about? We're talking about the company Tilray, Canadian company, a company that not only does cannabis related products, but that also owns a couple of craft beer breweries, 8 in total, I do believe, and 35% currently of the revenue even comes from those craft beer breweries. And then they also have, out of their cannabis related products, they have edibles, they have recreational products for adults, and they also have, of course, medical cannabis and distribution branches in North America, but also Europe and some Asian countries even. So a rather well-established company with already over 10 years of history. So they have been initially founded in 2014. On our chart that I'm gonna show you in just a second, we only have the chart starting from 2019. That is because at this point they had their IPO, so their set point when they decided to turn the company into a publicly traded company at the stock exchange. However, if we're just looking at the market cap development of a company, of course, we can go further back, and that's what I did here on companiesmarketcap.com. Great website, I love them. And so over here you can see the development all the way back from 2014, and we had this huge peak, and we're gonna look at this huge peak also in the charts in just a second, back in 2018, and ever since we've been losing ground like crazy. So back then the company was worth at its high $13.4 billion. So big money. Right now the company is worth $0.62 billion. So at this point it just looks like complete annihilation of that company. Why would you ever want to own a stock like this? And I'm gonna show you where it gets interesting. So if we jump over to revenue here, that's where for me it gets interesting, because you can see all the way back here 2012, 14, 16, there was barely any revenue. And to tell you the full story, as of now, today, Tilray is not yet profitable. They emphasize growth heavily. And as you can see here, it slowly starts paying off. So at 2018, after 4 years of already running that company, they have only been sitting at a revenue, we're not talking profit, revenue of $33 million. That was the time when we were talking about this $13 billion valuation. Are you kidding me? What has happened back then? And so today, whilst in market cap and value of that company, we are 20-fold down, so we're 95% down from the high. In revenue terms, we are up from 30 million to 830 million. So we had a almost 30-fold increase in revenue, while we had a 20-fold decrease, loss in market cap. And that's why I said now it starts to get interesting with Tilray, because currently revenue $0.26 billion for 2025 estimated, right? 2025 is not yet over. However, market cap $0.62 billion. So their annual revenue is even higher than the total market cap. That's a company that I'm interested in. Hi there, it's Joe with great news. We've just unlocked 3 powerful features in your HKCM Global dashboard. Let's dive right in. We've got short positions with transparent entry zones, stop loss guidance, and profit targets. Next up, technical indicators, MACD for trend momentum, RSI for identifying overbought or undervalued markets, and momentum squeeze for spotting potential breakouts. And rounding out the list, our analysis calendar and earnings tracker. So your new weekly structure includes a clear release schedule for your analyses, plus up-to-date earnings dates organized by your analysis packages. But here's the best part. For a limited time, we're offering 20% off all our products, whether it is stocks, cryptos, commodities, or indices. Just use the code FEATURES20 to redeem your discount. Log into your HKCM Global dashboard now and start exploring your new features. And that's also particularly the reason why we as a company in our model portfolio also picked up a position in Tilray, and that's what I'm gonna show you now. So if we here on the dashboard go over to analyses, we pick the cannabis stocks package. You can see here that, let's just search for Tilray. You can see here that back on the 30th of July, so end of last week, there's one special message regarding an entry via limit order. That's something that we only reserve for our paying customers and subscribers. However, what I can show you is a entry into Tilray that has already happened. So this entry is one that we took on 30th of July last week, and we also placed another limit order for Tilray at another price point probably in the future. And as just mentioned, I'm not going to share it with you. That is something that's really reserved for only our paying subscribers. But here, this entry that we took at 58 cents is something that I'm going to show you right now. So over here on the short to medium term outlook for Tilray, you can see that ever since here, this huge bottom, and when I'm talking about a huge bottom in the market, I again want to show you here what I'm talking about. So you remember we talked about the development of total market cap with this huge peak in late 2018. So we have this very same peak, of course, obviously here in share price. And so after this massive prolonged correction here, it really looks like we finally have a mid to long-term bottom in the markets. And you can see here in our count, we estimate that so far we've been an A, B, C correction leading into an overreaching W wave. So following a W wave has to come an X wave and then a final leg down in a Y corrective move. So that means as of now, we do not yet see a final bottom in that will never be revisited, because what we expect now is a clear leg up, a real bull run in the stock of Tilray, but it's only going to be in a corrective X wave. And what will follow is another corrective Y wave coming straight back down to probably current levels, or at least in that neighborhood. In the meantime, of course, there's quite a bit of profit to be made. So we're really talking about some real nice gains here. But that was just the big picture. So let's come back here to the more imminent picture. So following this wave 5 of a wave 5 of an overreaching wave C, then has been a very clear and clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves upward structure. So a clear impulse that really marks this turning point in the market. So when we see a clear impulse structure like this one here, so you can see all this stuff here. That's all choppy corrective action, sideways action, but this here is a real clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves impulse that always marks the beginning of a new overreaching trend direction. And following this impulse, we have seen a corrective wave already so far, another B counter-corrective wave, and now we probably see the final C wave corrective down, conclude this overreaching wave 2 then to follow this wave 1 here. So what we expect then in the grand scheme of things, same as with here, this internal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reaching to this overreaching wave 1, we of course likewise expect to follow this wave 1, another wave 5, 3, 4, 5 up again. And this bluish area that you can see here on the long-term chart, all this area here is a clear accumulation zone for us for Tilray. That's why, as I showed you before, recently, as of last week, we got into Tilray at 58 cents, or roughly the same levels that we are at right now. So consider this a huge gift from me to you, for you to get the chance to also get into Tilray at the very same level where we ourselves took an entry with our model portfolio. And if you would like to get such entries to our model portfolio and also daily analyses on stocks like Tilray and countless others, 200 even on a daily basis, consider going down to the link in the description, because right now is not just regular time but a real special time, because currently get 20% off the full runtime of your subscription. But if you're just here to stick around for the free value, of course, you're also very welcome to do so. And up until then, see you in the next one. Take care.